Good morning. It is Let It Go and Let It Grow. And what are we letting go of today? And that is Queen of Wands energy. What are we letting grow today? And that is Seven of Wands energy. So the Queen of Wands, it's a double wand day. Wands are all about passion, creativity, confidence, inspiration, boundaries, personal power, all of that today. And we are dealing with that double fire reading. Beautiful, beautiful fire cards. So there's no shortage of energy here. The message isn't simply be stronger. It's much more than that. So the Queen of Wands is asking us to release the need to prove our power, and the Seven of Wands is asking us to grow courage to protect that power. So the Wands are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And the Queen of Wands is traditionally associated with the fire of fire, strong Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius energy. Core card correspondences, short expressions of the fire element. And the Seven of Wands today is Mars in Leo. Sorry, the reading is going to be a bit darker. I turned my light on and it burnt out immediately, so it needs to be charged. There's something powerful about these two cards together. So both are the wands. The Queen embodies the confidence and the magnetism of the creativity of the fire. And the Seven asks, what are you willing to protect so that the fire doesn't get extinguished? Today's journey moves from I need everyone to recognize my worth towards I know my worth. I don't need to defend it to everyone. So let's go. Let it go. Fire of fire. The Queen of Wands is usually a gorgeous card of confidence, independence, creativity, and personal magnetism. But in the let it go position, we are being invited to examine the shadow side of the fire. So we are releasing the need to always appear confident. And that doesn't mean we don't have to feel that way, but there's also a certain power in being vulnerable. There's a certain power in asking for help on occasion. So we always don't have to come off in that air of that super confident, grandiose, larger than life, that typical what you expect of a Leo. It is okay to drop that image of yourself, to drop the facade on occasion if it is one. And, sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is ask for help when you need it and be humble. Let go of comparing your light to someone else's. We all hold our own candles. And you can see the big flame in there and all the little candles around her there. So we all hold our own light. And we shouldn't be in a position where in order to shine our light, we dim somebody else's. We want our light to be our own, and we want it to be a beacon to others, but we don't want it to be that one that ignites others or snuffs them out completely. And you can see there she has her little trusty black cat. I do believe Monday was the day of the black cat, so happy late Black Cat Day. So releasing that need for outside validation as well. Sometimes you just do what you're doing to do it. It is part of who you are. It's part of your code. It's a part of the reasons why you are who you are. Not needing to be recognized for everything all of the time. Sometimes it's really nice to have that recognition, but if you're doing things just for that recognition, that doesn't mean you're coming from things in an authentic place. This is asking you to drop into your authentic energy. Stop performing strength when you actually need rest. So big gold flame there. She's holding her wand up in victory. She is excited. She is driven. She has all the courage she needs. She has that spark, that wanting to create and wanting to do. But there's a big part of her that also needs rest. So you can put that big flame down knowing that it's still there and will be yours. And you can become one of the little candles. You can become one of those little candles and take that time out and rest for yourself. Let go of believing that you must always be charismatic, productive, and inspiring. That's exhausting to even think about. I am a Leo, and I like to put on what I put on when I put it on. But honestly, when you're in performative mode all the time and doing what others expect of you or expect their version of you to be, it can be absolutely exhausting. So when people do see the softness or the vulnerabilities or that other side of you, they can sometimes be shocked because, you know, they've come up I've had this happen several times over my life. People get to know me outside of that personality. It's like, my God, when I first met you, you scared the shit out of me. It's like, I am the least terrifying person on the planet. But they're like, no, it's just like you seem so bigger than life. And I guess in some ways that's protective energy. But in other ways, we don't need to keep that face on all of the time. It's okay to be soft. It's okay to be at your true essence of who you are. It's not that you're not shining anymore. It's just that you're being authentic to you. So release the jealousy and comparisons to someone else's light when it seems brighter. So don't snuff out somebody else's light. Comparison is the thief of joy. You want to be able to shine your own bright light and lead the way for others, but leading not by arrogance. Stop shrinking yourself to make other people feel comfortable. So if you're in a place where, you do want to light up that world or that room, light her up. And don't feel the need to shrink back because you might make somebody else uncomfortable. The way I look at that is that's a them issue, not a you issue. So when you're reading the room, read it from your energy, take into consideration how others might feel to a degree. But, do you, boo. Like, don't sit there and shrink yourself down and extinguish your own flame because you think or perceive you might be too much for somebody else in the room. Vibrate up or they vibrate out. And let go of the need to prove that you belong in that room to begin with. Just because you are, you belong. If you were invited into a space, you belong. And know how to hold that light and shine that light. I also just saw the hermit lighting the way with the lantern. So know how to shine your light in the situations that you're in. Don't become small for others, but also be authentic to who you are. The Queen of Wands knows who she is. She doesn't need everyone else to agree with that. So people are going to like you or they're not, and that's just the way life is. And you can't make people like you or understand you, and that's fine. They're not your people. So once again, I just saw the moth to the flame. The flame either scares them and runs them off, or it attracts them. And if they're people who are attracted to your flame, then possibly they are your people. So for Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, this card may speak particularly strongly to identity and personal expression. Fire signs naturally want movement, creation, passion, freedom, but there could also be a pressure to continually do something with that fire. Shine bigger, shine brighter, add fuel to it, grow, grow, grow. And you don't need to be always leading. You don't need to always be achieving. You don't always need to walk in the room blazing. And sometimes confidence is much quieter. Sometimes it sounds like, I know who I am, even when no one is there applauding for me. So that's a very Leo thing. So that is it for the Queen. And what are we letting grow today? And that is the Seven of Wands. So this is Mars and Leo. So grow stronger boundaries around your time and your energy. So this is asking you to take stock in what you're doing, and put up those healthy boundaries because you want to. And I heard the word necessity, but it's also that you know where you are in your own life and you know where these boundaries are needed for you. So stand behind the choices you've made. Stand strong. Protect your personal peace, to protect your personal space, and stop apologizing for having limits. No is a complete sentence. No, no is a complete sentence. So when you say no and grow that courage to say no, stand behind the no. And I see people waver all the time. They're like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. And that's a very me. Yeah, no. I say that all the time. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. And, for a lot of people in years and years and years ago, I would have wavered on that and beat myself up that I said no. And what was I thinking? I should have said yes. And they're probably disappointed in me and blah, blah, blah. They are going to get over it, and they don't. Once again, that is a them issue. That is not a you issue. So knowing no is a complete sentence and having the courage to say it and follow through on it is very, very important. Choose carefully which battles deserve your energy as well. Because, there's a lot of times that we see things and we inject ourselves into them. We think that this is going to give us personal power. We're going to get a little something out of this. And our nose and our flame didn't have to be there at all. We just injected ourselves into the situation to feel some sense of importance for 10 minutes. And now it's exhausting. And we're wondering what the hell we did and why we put ourselves in that situation in the first place. Trust yourself when others question your direction. You know you. You know at the core of who you are where this sits. Go into that solar plexus again, that inner personal strength, that inner personal courage, that inner personal fire. We've all got it. And when you feel where that is, body it. You're going to know pretty much instantly, gut-wise, how this is setting with you. So trust how your gut feels. Get your head out of it. Trust how the gut feels. And remember that disagreement does not automatically mean that you're wrong. It just means you have that boundary up. Something else I think super cool with these cards today is they're both facing the same direction. And to me, in some ways, they are looking to the past with that fire to heal. They are looking, she is looking to her past courageous actions. She has the strength now to realize where she's at with these actions and put up those boundaries. So it's about growing and taking that action and taking that energy forward with you as well through the rest of your life, to know that the past has trailblazed for your future, and you know what you're willing to put up with and not put up with now, and you are guarding your peace. I love how she's in the little crystal ball, like no fucks given. You're not getting in. All the wands are pointing into her, but she's in that ball. That ball of energy is protecting her, and nobody's getting into her personal ball, her personal space, if she doesn't want them to be there. So the Seven of Wands isn't asking you to fight everyone. Quite the opposite, is asking you to discern about what and who deserves your fighting energy. So for Leo, Mars adds tremendous determination. So there's courage, pride, passion, and a willingness to defend what truly matters. For Aries and Sagittarius, this may also feel familiar because fire doesn't particularly enjoy being contained and constricted, or the starting of the being snuffed out. But there's an important lesson here as well. A boundary isn't an invitation to debate. You don't need a PowerPoint presentation, 3 references, 17 supporting documents, an explanation why you said no. Sometimes no is the entire sentence, like I've always said. So the deeper message between this reading today is it feels like someone's finally realizing, wait a minute, why am I explaining myself to everybody all the time? The Queen of Wands walks into a room carrying enormous presence. She knows what she's bringing: creative, passionate, independent, warmth, and magnetism. But when we constantly look outside of ourselves for confirmation of those qualities, something strange happens. Our confidence becomes dependent on that audience. We become dependent on other people watching us, paying attention to us, being electrified by our presence. Who noticed me? Who supported me? Who disagreed with me? Liked what I'm creating and created? Who didn't respond to this? So the world becomes your stage and everyone in it your audience. And without realizing it, we've handed other people the thermometer for our own fire. So then the Seven of Wands arrives, and she is essentially taking back this power. This is where the reading becomes beautifully connected. The Queen of Wands represents knowing your power. The Seven of Wands represents protecting that power. And there's an enormous difference between protecting yourself and constantly defending yourself. You don't need to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't need to convince everyone your path is valid. You don't need to justify every single boundary. You don't need universal approval before trusting your own intuition. And you certainly don't need to dim your light because somebody else finds it uncomfortable and doesn't like standing in it. They can fucking move. Not every hill requires you to build a fortress. Mars and Leo can sometimes turn disagreement into a battle, so be cautious about that. And that is, I just heard pride. Sometimes somebody can say something and it hurts your pride. Take a deep breath and let that go. There's no point in fighting. I also saw the Five of Wands card, which is that battling card. Sometimes, people don't understand us and we desperately want to try to explain it to ourselves. But the Queen of Wands doesn't need to chase people around convincing them that she's powerful at all. She simply just is. And that's the deeper medicine in these cards today. Confidence isn't about being louder. It's becoming less dependent on external confirmations. And boundaries aren't about building walls around your heart. They're about deciding what gets access to your energy, your time, your attention, your creativity, your emotional labor, your passion is your energy, and your fire deserves a stewardship. The Queen asks you to own your flame. The Seven of Wands is asking you to protect it. And maybe you've spent too much time trying to prove yourself to people who've already decided that they're not going to understand you anyway. So maybe you've been defending a decision that doesn't actually require anyone's approval at all. And maybe you've been shrinking because standing fully in yourself attracts too much attention. Or maybe you're simply tired. These cards aren't asking you to fight harder. They're asking you to become more selective with how you use this energy. Because one of the most powerful things you can ever say is, you don't have to understand my path for me to continue walking it. So this is about your own sovereignty. Beautiful energy, a lot of grounding, obviously, a lot of rooting, obviously, solar plexus energy, sacral energy, red, orange, and yellow today. So really, really embrace this. Release the need to prove your strength, grow the boundaries that protect your peace. You don't have to convince everyone. You don't have to explain everything. And you don't have to make yourself smaller so somebody else can feel bigger. Let your confidence come from within. Protect the things that matter and choose your battles very, very carefully. And remember, your fire doesn't need permission to burn. You don't need that permission. So where in your life are you spending too much energy proving yourself to people who don't need to understand your path anyway? And what boundary could you strengthen today and protect your time, creativity, peace, and your personal energy? And that is the reading of today. I am going to finish it off with a Healing Spirits card. And I already pre-selected the card. You are your purpose. So once again, that is all about standing in that light. You are your purpose. You are your purpose. Shine that light. Shine that light and protect your space. Protect what you're doing. And see that energy in there? I don't know how. Sometimes when I'm looking at these cards, I notice different things. And it's like, so her solar plexus is completely lit up, which is what I said about going into that inner fire. Get out of your head. Go into that fire of your gut, of that solar plexus, and she is totally lit up in that solar plexus. So that is about knowing where your purpose is. That is the true purpose. I find calmness is here in your heart center, and purpose is that solar plexus. Ask yourself the questions and sit with them sometimes. Where are you feeling this? Where does your purpose lie? If your purpose lays in your head, you're in the wrong space. You need to drop it down. The heart space is lit up there, and I see solar plexus and root energy there as well. So you need to move it down from your head into the heart, into the solar plexus, and root and ground that down in for yourself. because the only one who is going to burn your fire for you is you. You are your passion. You are your own driving force. If some people find you too big, that's a them issue. Again, no is a complete sentence. And protect your energy. You are the only you have. And have a good one.